This makes an interesting case study, an E46 M3, 2002, so it's 20 years old now. It's travelled 74,000 kilometres, which is approximately 47,000 miles, and it's just been imported from Japan. So different climate over there, probably a lot drier, and probably don't use as much salt on the road because the condition of this vehicle is excellent. Very good, very little corrosion on it, and amazingly even things like the fuel tank brackets up there are really corrosion free, as are the 25mm grommets underneath the vehicle, which if you've never seen what one of these should look like, we were quite surprised because we very rarely get to see them in such an original factory finish. The hole that's in the chassis for the car is grommeted from BMW here, and it looks like they put a mask around that area for when the sprayable seam sealer is being applied underneath the vehicle, so the sealer doesn't go over the hole, and then they come along and grommet both sides. And so that area there, which isn't seam sealed, is just bare E-coat, which isn't very well protected, the steel, especially underneath, directly underneath the vehicle. So that's no wonder those areas badly corrode on an E46. And that got us onto another area of why the rubber has split. It's got a clear breakage all the way through it. And what we've discovered on this vehicle is actually got quite a lot of rubber rot. So areas that are made of rubber have just sort of broken over time and caused issues to probably this vehicle, much like, although they're actually not rubber entirely, they're foam, these diff bushes have completely collapsed. The car is in excellent order and is well being looked after. You can clearly see by the condition of the exterior of the vehicle as well, and the mechanical items, but the diff bushes have collapsed on this side as well, the right hand side, and also the front right mounting point in there for the diff as well. So the car does present quite a clunk at the moment, which is definitely these diff bushes which have broken up. So rubber rot is really an issue, something that's quite surprising. We're seeing it on the bump stops as well. The foam bump stops on the top of the rear shock absorbers have broken and allowing the dust shield to drop down. So there are lots of things that are positives for buying a low mileage vehicle like this. In fact, that there are less likely to be corrosion, especially if it's come from a hotter climate. But you do have to remember there are areas that need serious overhaul and work as well. So rubber components, the anti-roll bar drop link boots there have all split because the rubber's just given up. So is the ABS sensor wire rubber. That one's broken by the end of that. And also at the other end of the ABS sensor wire, over there, all that rubber is flaking off and breaking. And also the anti-roll bar drop link rubbers, the rubber bands that secure these drop links in have broken, so they've separated. So there are pros and cons for it. I think ultimately I would prefer one actually that was like this, that was corrosion free. But we do have to remember when people say that it's better to buy a low mileage vehicle that really hasn't been used, that isn't always perfectly true. You can't just assume that because the car's got low mileage or not been used that it will be in perfect condition. You do have items to be considering, and mainly rubber. So subframe bushes, diff bushes, the other rubber items that I've presented in this video are all things that have just naturally broken up over time and actually gone quicker, deteriorated far quicker than they would maybe in a normal sort of climate. We don't commonly see so much rubber deterioration, but maybe this is because it's an imported vehicle from a hotter climate. So that's just an interesting take on it, two different ways of looking at that, and hopefully you enjoy seeing a very original, non-corroded E46 M3, 20 years old, 74,000 kilometres with all original sort of underside looks.